Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
That's what I'm talking about. All of our guests today, including Ross Tucker standing by, are brought to you by Passat Motors. There are huge holiday savings at Passat Motors. No GST, no gas, no payments. Check out other great offers at Passat Motors. BASANTmotors.com as we bring in Ross Tucker from the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, CBS Sports, and Westwood One. Ross, thanks so much for doing this. How are you, sir?
I am doing awesome. How are you guys doing?
Very good. Very good. Something a little bit different off the top. Let's talk some college football. Arguably the biggest sports story going these days. Florida State doesn't make it into the Final Four, if you want to call it that. 13-0. Should they be there, Ross?
Absolutely. This is something I talked about extensively this morning on the College Draft podcast, which is part of my podcast network. It bothers me a lot, guys. Like a lot. Those guys have put in so much time and effort. They went 13-0. And here's the thing. It's not like they scheduled patsies, right? Mm-hmm. Like in the opener, they played number 5 ranked LSU, who some people picked to win the national championship. And they beat them by 20. Then, the quarterback got injured. Okay, great. Quarterback got injured. Starter. Since then, they went to Florida. At Florida, SEC school, the swamp, the whole deal. And they won by 2 scores. Then in a neutral site in Charlotte, they play Louisville, who's a good team, only had 1 loss at that point, or no, 2 losses, I guess, at that point. And they beat them by 2 scores. So, and that was with a freshman quarterback. They were going to get the Rodemaker kid back a month from now. They earned it. 13-0, Power 5 conference. And even after the quarterback got hurt, they won 2 games by double digits. Kind of goes against everything I believe in, everything I think that we're supposed to be about, which is that you earn it. Like you have to go out there and earn it. They earned it. And what really bothers me, guys, is this whole argument of you got to get the best 4 teams. You got to get the best 4 teams. So that's deeply flawed. You don't think Georgia's one of the 4 best teams? Like anybody saying you got to get the best 4 teams to justify Alabama, to me is laughable because Georgia, I guarantee, is one of the 4 best teams. You don't think Georgia's better than Texas or better than Georgia would be favored right now against all 4 of these teams.
Yep.
They'd be favored against all 4 of these teams. Michigan, Florida, Texas, Washington, Alabama. So this best 4 teams argument is a joke to me. They would be favored. And Alabama, there's some juggernaut. I just watched them last week, guys. 4th and 31 against Auburn, who, by the way, the week before got smashed 31-10 by New Mexico State. And Alabama has a 4th and 31 miracle to win that game. Yet they're clearly one of the 4 best teams. No, I don't buy it at all. Frankly, Florida State should have been the 3rd seed. Texas should have been the 4th seed.
You know what's frustrating about this, Ross, for those of us who are older, is that we had these discussions 25 years ago when there wasn't a playoff. Things were supposed to be better, weren't they?
Yeah. It really is a shame if you think about all of the wonderful games that we've missed out on over the years. All the wonderful opportunities to really know who the best team was. And what really bothers me too, guys, is I'm an FCS guy. I played 1AA. The lower levels, 1AA, D2, D3, they've had playoff tournaments for years where there's at least 16 teams in it. For years. There was never a good argument to not do it. I can remember around here, Penn State was undefeated in 94. Undefeated. They had like 8 first-round picks, but they weren't named the national champion at the end of the year. Nebraska was. I mean, what a joke. What kind of joke is that? That you go undefeated and the voters just decide who the best team is rather than actually playing it? It's been a farce for a long time, and it's really upsetting.
You're passionate about this. You're also passionate about the NFL. 49ers, Eagles, 42-19 for San Francisco. That's the obvious question, Ross. How impressive were the 49ers?
Well, very. I mean, they have a really good team. I think the most impressive part of that, to me, guys, they were getting worked in the first quarter. I mean, they got dominated in the first quarter. The Eagles went on 2 long drives, got inside the 10, and then had to settle for field goals. The Niners had -6 yards on 6 plays in the first quarter. There's only 4 drives in the first quarter. It's pretty remarkable that they were able to then score 6 straight touchdowns against a good Eagles team. I mean, the Niners look like a machine after that.
Hey, Ross, the Seahawks have lost 3 straight. The Rams have won 3 straight. You got the Rams, Seahawks, Vikings, and Packers all at 6-6. 4 teams, 2 spots. Who's coming out of that group?
You know, we are at the stage where it feels like you start to do the schedule watching.
Yep.
Because if we're just going, Rick, based on how they've played recently,
Yep.
you would go Green Bay and the Rams, right? And you'd say, Vikings are out. They got some bad losses back to back. Seahawks lost 3 in a row. They're out. But I don't know that. You got to look at the schedule. Now, Seattle's schedule is not easy. You know, they got to play the Eagles in a couple of weeks. Like, they got to play the Niners next week. Not real good for Seattle. They really needed to get some of these other wins, and they've lost head-to-head to the Rams twice, which isn't good. So I guess I would lean right now, without studying the remainder of their schedules, I would lean towards the Rams and the Packers, the way they're playing and knowing that Seattle's got some really tough games coming up.
Ross, the Packers and the Chiefs last night, the refereeing in the last 2 minutes, not great. No penalty on that one pass interference. We talk about it every week. I saw a lot of players and coaches complaining. The Seahawks had a ton of penalties on Thursday night as well. What's going on here with the officiating? It just seems it's not getting better week after week.
No, not only is it not getting better, it's getting worse. I don't know if you guys saw, I have this solution, and I posted this on social media at Ross Tucker NFL. Every play in the NFL should be reviewable by the College Football Playoff Committee. That's how we can fix this.
Good one.
Can you just imagine the College Football Playoff Committee sitting around a table watching that Hail Mary or watching these pass interference penalties and deciding whether or not you know what the College Football Playoff Committee would say? That's pass interference because clearly the Chiefs are the best team. So we need to call pass interference. Now, I've said for a long time they need to make everything reviewable. Coaches still only have 2 challenges, right? Yeah. And they get more if they keep getting them right, which they should. But they wouldn't use them. It wouldn't extend the game as much as people think. Although, honestly, guys, the last 2 minutes, those are automatic booth reviews anyway. So they can't challenge those 2 plays anyway. Yeah. But if they could at least change the call. I'm always of this mindset. There's too many people watching. There's too much at stake. If we can if every single person watching can say that that's not unnecessary roughness against Mahomes, that is pass interference on the throw to MVS, then they should be able to fix that. They got to be able to fix that. Here's the thing, though, guys. I'm not sure it really hurts the NFL. Right? Like, we're all going to keep watching. I think somebody at the NFL figured out that officiating mistakes just leads to greater engagement and more content on Monday and Tuesday shows. Yeah. And just keeps the machine running so that there's more engagement, entertainment, and excitement and discussion around the games. But ultimately, it's not like we're going to boycott next week. Oh, those are 2 bad calls. I'm not going to watch the game next week. Says nobody. Yeah.
Ross, not only do the Steelers lose to a team who had only 2 wins, they've lost their quarterback, Kenny Pickett. This team is hard to figure out. Now he's out week to week. I think he had surgery this morning. What about the Steelers down the stretch?
So what's going on with the rotation here? That's 3 straight questions from Rick. You guys give each other like hand signals? Or
Yeah,
something?
we do.
How
we
do
do.
you know who's next to ask the question?
It's controversial, Ross. I'm pretty upset right now. It's usually 2 for him and then back to me. But, if you could roll it this week only, we wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I mean, well, I was just curious because usually I feel a little bit of a rhythm.
Yeah.
But I could sense something was out of sorts, and it's almost like Rick's feeling good about himself. Like
I am. I'm feeling good.
The first time
Rick's
for everything.
On a roll. So let me ask the question again, Rick, because no matter what it was, I'm going to rip you and act like it's a terrible question.
Steelers.
Something about Pickett, right?
Just so you know, when you would the screen's only showing you, Donnie and I go like this, hand motions, hand. We always go hand.
Yeah. I know that's what you did.
We use our hands. We use our
I
hands.
figured that's what you did. I'm
Okay.
just saying that for the viewers,
Yeah.
for their benefit. It's the same thing I do when I'm in a 3-man booth. I know what you guys are doing.
Hands. We use our hands.
So what was the question, Rick?
Listen.
Is it good that Kenny Pickett got hurt? No,
Nah.
it's not good that Kenny Pickett got hurt.
Yeah.
Great
They lost
question,
to
Rick.
it. They lost to a team, Ross, with 2 wins, and now they lose their quarterback. I mean, they're hard to figure out. What do you think about them down the stretch? That's the question.
Okay. I thought, what it might have been a better question is which worse, that they lost the game or that they lost Pickett. That's how I would have phrased it, Rick.
Just pretend I said that.
Yeah. So, what's so funny? The Steelers, we all know they have a winning record every year. They're probably still going to make the playoffs this year. They lose one of these games every year. Like, I live in central Pennsylvania. A lot of people around here are Steelers fans. They have the annual, they call it the Tomlin special. Every year, they lose a game to one of the 3 or 4 worst teams in the NFL, usually at home. They literally have a name for it. It's called the Tomlin Special, which is just hilarious. And now to lose Pickett, Trubisky did not look good. You're right. Pickett did have a surgery. And, they're saying maybe 2 weeks. Yeah, right.
No,
I mean, for an ankle surgery, 2 weeks, good luck with that. I mean, it's going to be probably more like 4 weeks. We might see Mason Rudolph soon because I haven't loved what I've seen from Trubisky.
Hey, and Ross, quickly before we get to my front page story, with the sideline worker in New Orleans and Alvin Kamara in mind, just how dangerous are pro football sidelines?
Very, and people don't get it. Honestly, Donnie, I know because I've been there. When I'm like in the playoffs, I'll do sideline for Westwood 1. When it's an outside play coming towards where I am, before those guys even get to the numbers, I turn around and anybody in my way, I go like this and push them out of my way, and I run 10 yards towards the stands. Because people, when you're watching it, you don't understand how fast it's happening. And because you're using your eyes, you think, if he came over, I'd be like, no, dude. By the time you realize it's time to move, it's too late, bro. You're done. And I have no interest in breaking my leg or getting a torn ACL or something on the sideline. So you know what I do? I sprint back, okay? Get out of the way. And then when they finally come out of bounds, that's when all the other people who are really slow to the process, that's when they move out of the way. That's when I come right back in for the TV time. So right when they disperse because the guy got out of bounds, that's when I come back in. I try to help him up because I know the camera's on me then.
Perfect. Yeah.
Wear a bright orange jacket. That's when I try to get my TV time.
I know that's true too, Ross. I think we've talked about this before. Hey, my front page story, Christmas is just around the corner.
Hey, we get 2 or 3 people from the great Pacific Northwest, British Columbia, that order every time I tell you guys about myfrontpagestory.com because it's an awesome gift. You know how you know? Because Rick's never bought one. Okay? If it was a terrible gift, Rick would have already bought one. Rick would have one.
Yeah.
Rick doesn't know what's good or what's not. He's more concerned about the East Coast Hockey League and which guys might eventually be in the AHL or juniors and maybe someday, be a 5th liner for the Canucks. Don't be like Rick. Be a Donnie in life. Donnie's already bought 5 of these. Probably not, but whatever. Myfrontpagestory.com. It's a story. It's a keepsake. It's beautiful. Next week, I'm going to have it here. I'm going to hold it like this for your loved ones that they will remember forever. Your mom, your wife, I guarantee it's the best gift. In fact, if it's not the best gift they've ever gotten, email me, ross@rosstucker.com. I'll send you a signed autograph. If you get them a story from myfrontpagestory.com and it's not the best gift they've ever gotten, I'll send you a signed autograph for free that says Rick stinks. Ross Tucker.
Okay, the rotation will be back to normal next week, Ross. Thanks for this. Appreciate it. Right, exactly.
Sounds good.
Hand
See you guys.
signals galore.